It was a cold, rainy night in 1993 when Linda, a single mother, moved into an old house on the outskirts of town. The house was cheap, which was a blessing for Linda, who was struggling to make ends meet. It had a large, creaky wooden floor, faded wallpaper, and an eerie silence that seemed to hang in the air. The only thing that stood out, beyond the usual aging of a house, was the basement door, tucked away in the corner of the kitchen, hidden behind an old cupboard. The realtor had briefly mentioned the basement, but when Linda asked about it, he seemed a little too quick to move on to another topic. It was strange, but Linda didn't think much of it at the time. At first, things were calm. Linda spent her nights reading on the couch while her daughter, Emily, played in the corner of the living room. But there was always a strange feeling that something was off in the house, especially when she went to the basement. Linda felt a chill run down her spine whenever she passed the door. The sound of the rain hitting the windows made the house feel even more unsettling. A few weeks later, after unpacking most of their belongings, Linda finally decided to investigate the basement. She tried to brush off the feeling of dread as something natural, but when she opened the door, the smell hit her immediately. A mix of mold and decay, as if the air hadn't moved in years. The staircase leading down was steep, and the darkness below seemed to swallow any light she tried to shine into it. But when she looked down the stairs, she saw it. A figure, barely visible at first, but unmistakable. A shadowy shape, standing at the bottom of the stairs, watching her. Linda froze, her heart pounding in her chest. "Who's there?" she called out, but the figure didn't move. She told herself it was just her mind playing tricks. But the next day she couldn't shake the feeling that someone, was watching her from the shadows of that basement. The figure had never been seen again, but Linda's unease grew, especially at night. It wasn't long before Emily started talking about an imaginary friend she had met in the basement. She described him in detail, a tall man with dark eyes, wearing a tattered suit, and the feeling that he was always angry. Emily's stories were frighteningly consistent, as if she were speaking from her own terrifying encounters in the basement. Then things started to escalate. One night, as Linda was sitting in the living room, she heard Emily scream from the kitchen. Linda rushed into the room and saw her daughter standing at the basement door, frozen in terror, pointing at the darkness below. "It's him, Mommy. He's down there," Emily whispered, her voice trembling. Linda tried to reassure her, but she could feel it. The presence in the house was growing stronger. The shadow in the basement wasn't just a figment of her imagination. It was real. Desperate, Linda contacted a local priest who arrived to bless the house. He spent hours in the basement, praying and performing rituals. He later told Linda that there was an evil spirit lingering in the house, a spirit of someone who had died violently in the home many years ago. He warned Linda that the spirit had become stronger over time and was feeding off the fear of those living there. The priest left the house, but that night, the atmosphere in the home was suffocating. The whispers and footsteps continued, but the worst part was the shadow. It now appeared not only in the basement, but in the dark corners of every room, always watching. After many sleepless nights and growing terror, Linda made the decision to leave. The house had taken too much from them. When Linda and Emily finally moved out, the new tenants, unaware of the house's dark history, eventually found out. They too experienced the whispers and the feeling of being watched, but they never spoke of it again. The house still stands to this day, abandoned, with rumors of its haunted past spreading among locals. And Linda? She never spoke about the house again. But every time it rained, she would get an overwhelming sense of dread, the memory of the shadow lurking in the basement, still haunting her every thought. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and share our channel to support us, so we can continue making more chilling stories for you. Thank you for watching, and enjoy your shadow tales.